Okay, so let's continue our discussion with this question paper. So yesterday we had discussed up to the 27th question. Mm, yeah. Mm, okay. So today we'll continue from the 28th. Mm, So the first question, what are hotspots and what is the criterion for determining a hotspot? Yeah. So what is meant by a hotspot? It is a region which contains a lot of biodiversity, right? Okay, a region which has a lot of biodiversity, and also the region might be under a very high risk, right? Okay, so then such regions are called hotspots. So biodiversity hotspot is a specific geographic region. It has an exceptional concentration of species. Okay, it will have a number of trees and plants, and also it will have a number of animals, birds, and everything, right? And also another thing. What is meant by endemism? Endemism means species which are found only in that particular region. So, in a hotspot, you have a number of endemic species. These species, they won't be found anywhere else in the world. So, it is very important to safeguard those species, right? Okay, so these are called endemic species. So, where you can see endemic species, that region is what we call a hotspot. Then, what is the criteria for determining a hotspot? The first one is species endemism. Yeah, okay. There should be a variety of species, and a lot of those species should be endemic. That is, they should belong only to that particular region. So it must contain at least 1,500 species of vascular plants as endemics, right? Okay, species unique to that area. And then what is the degree of threat? The region must have lost at least 70% of its original primary vegetation. Okay, huh? So it could be because of many reasons, right? We've already seen because of human exploitation or many things. It should have lost 70% of its vegetation, and also 30. It should have only 30 or 30% or less of its natural habitat remaining. Then such a region is what we call a hotspot, which has to be protected. So India has many hotspots. One such region is Western Ghats. Okay, it has a number of hilly regions where you can see a variety of plants and animals, and also the eastern Himalayas. So these are hotspots and these are the criteria. And the next one, lists two factors that lead to rise in population in the world. Yeah, because we've seen that there is an explosion in population in the world now, right? Okay, so what are the different factors that lead to the rise in population? The first one, increase in birth rate. Yeah, natality, because the birth rate has steadily been increasing. So so there are many different reasons. The first one is early marriage that leads to a longer reproductive period for couples. Yeah. Okay. So, if people get married young, it means their reproductive period will be longer. Illiteracy and lack of awareness. Yeah. Okay. So people who don't have a good education, they will have, lack of awareness about the different contraceptive methods and all of these things, right? Okay. So it will lead to, the couple having a lot of children. And then social and religious beliefs. Yeah. In some cultures, large family or a male child is preferred. Yeah. Okay. So this is also a common trend, particularly in Asian countries. So if, say, for example, if a family has two, three girls, then they will continue having children just to get a boy. Right. It is also a social and, it is a belief in the families. So all of these are factors that contribute to the increase in the population. Then, what contributes to decrease in death rate, mortality? There are many different reasons, right? Okay, so the first one, this is the most significant cause of recent population explosion. The death rate has fallen rapidly. Main reason is because of advanced medical facilities, right? Nowadays, we have just like technologies improving. There are a number of advancements in technology in other fields. Medical field has also seen a lot of improvements in there are a number of different technologies that are being introduced in the medical field. So we have many different treatments for all diseases. So therefore the longevity of people has increased. So better control over epidemics. Yeah, we have we have vaccinations, right? Okay, so the children are vaccinated right from their birth. They'll be given a lot of vaccines. So, and also all of these endemics and pandemics, all of them, they are effectively being controlled nowadays. So that's why the death rate has decreased. And then improved nutrition, yeah, because of the economic growth, people are able to get nutritious food. So if the body get nutritious food, then the body will be healthy, right? It will stay healthy for a long time. And then better sanitation. Yeah. Okay. So improved public health and clean drinking water. People have access to all of these facilities now. So all of these has led to a decrease in the mortality rate. So all of these things, increase in natality and decrease in mortality. These are the two reasons for rapidly increasing population. Then the next one, how a habitat can be designed for cows. Yeah. Okay, so cows, they should have a well designed, place. So proper ventilation and space is important. The habitat must be well ventilated to allow for free flow of fresh air, which prevents respiratory diseases and keeps the area cool. Mm, Yeah. Okay, so that is one thing. It should be a well ventilated space. And also, each cow should have enough room to stand, lie down, and move comfortably, right? They should have enough space. They should not be tightly packed. And also, orientation. They are built in east-west direction to avoid direct harsh sunlight during the day while allowing for natural light. Yeah. Okay. So it should be properly ventilated. It should let in natural sunlight, but it should not get harsh sunlight also. So that is one thing. And then hygiene and waste management. The floors should be non-slippery, right? Okay. They should be non-slippery, and they should also have a slight slope so that all of the waste, the urine and all of the other waste, they are collected. It is easy to collect all of the waste. Yeah. And even the wash water, all of this should flow easily. And feeding and water, there should be separate clean mangers. Okay. And yeah, so their feeding and water, it should also be maintained properly, hygienically. Yes. Then differentiate between rural and urban settlements on the basis of their occupation and social interactions. Yeah. Yes. Occupation. In rural settlements, what would be the major uh, uh, you know uh, professions of people living in rural areas? They would be engaged in, most of them would be engaged in agriculture, right? Okay, either agriculture or agriculture related occupations, right? Okay, like agriculture, animal husbandry, fishing, mining, and forestry. These are the major occupations. And in urban settlements, people won't be, most of them, they won't be involved in agriculture, but they'll have some other job, right? Secondary and tertiary activities. So they'll be working in industries, trade, commerce, services, transport, administration. These are the different occupations that you see in, urban settlements. And then social interactions are personal and close knit, because in rural areas there will be a few people, right? Okay, so the number of people would be very less, so there will be a close interaction between the people. And because the population is small and homogeneous, people have direct face-to-face relationship. Say if there are a few hundred people, then everybody would know each other, right, in a village. But in urban settlements, the interactions are impersonal and formal. So even though you come across a lot of people, maybe hundreds of people every day, but you don't know most of them, right? Maybe a few people you might know, but mostly the people, they don't know each other. And the population is large, dense, and heterogeneous. Yeah. Okay. It is not made up of homogeneous population. They will come from different walks of life. They belong to different communities and different states, so many things. And relationships are often functional based on professional needs rather than emotional bonds, leading to a greater sense of privacy and anonymity. Yeah. When it comes to relationships, they don't have any, deep, uh, personal and close knit relationships, right? Most of the relationship will be quite formal relationships. Yeah. The next question, state two major problems emerging from use of modern technology in farming. Yeah. Okay. So even in farming, the farmers are using a number of modern technologies, right? Okay, so we can't say that it is completely, avoidable, because we've seen that there is a rapid increase in population, right? So just to meet the needs of this huge population, the farmers, they have restore to some of these modern agricultural practices. Otherwise, they won't be able to produce as much crop, okay, to meet the demand. So that's why they do have to use some of the modern technology, but there are some drawbacks also. So what are the drawbacks? Environmental degradation and pollution. Yeah. Okay, so because the heavy use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides, it leads to contamination. Yeah, okay, so everything is polluted now. Because modern technology means they'll be using a lot of chemicals, pesticides, and fertilizers, right? So the land will be polluted, and the water will also be polluted, and yeah. Okay, so surface water, everything, even the groundwater will be polluted because these chemicals will slowly seep into the ground when it rains. So therefore, everything will be polluted. So this destroys the soil fertility and harms the biodiversity. So even though the farmer might get a good yield that year, in subsequent years, the fertility of the soil will be reduced, right? Okay, so therefore, the soil might become, barren. It may not be able to produce good, crops at all. It might permanently lose its fertility. There are so many consequences, and it also harms biodiversity because all of the organisms, they will be affected, right? These chemicals will kill the organisms, tiny insects and all of these organisms, they will be harmed. Yeah. The loss of genetic diversity, biodiversity, yes, because of these chemicals, um, a number of organisms will be lost. Some of them will be lost forever. Yeah. There's a disappearance of indigenous crop varieties, reducing agricultural genetic diversity. Yeah. And another thing, if this genetically modified crops are used, then the indigenous crops, they might lose their popularity. They might be lost. So that is also another consequence. And the next one, define deforestation and write its two consequences. Yeah, what is deforestation? Large scale destruction of forest for human use, for many different human use. It is the large scale removal or destruction of forests and trees for purposes such as agriculture, urbanization, logging, or industrial development. Yeah, these are the main reasons for which people are clearing away forests. Agriculture, to expand, to take over more lands for agriculture. Urbanization, just to cities keep on expanding. And then for logging, yeah, because we need a lot of wood, right? Okay, for making furniture, and then for house, for making doors and windows. There are so many purposes for which we use wood. Okay, so large scale logging, cutting these trees. Okay, so that is also another factor. And industries. Okay, some industries will also be set up. Hmm. So these are the reasons. And what are the consequences? Soil erosion and degradation. Right. Okay. So because we've seen that trees, they they play a major role in preventing soil erosion because their roots will form a network, right? Okay, so they will form a network and they will tightly hold the soil together in its place. But when there are no trees, then if there is a heavy rain, then there is nothing to hold the soil together in its place, right? Okay, so therefore, the soil will be washed away, particularly the top soil, which contains all of the nutrients, because the top soil will contain all of the, organic matter. So it will be the most fertile soil. But when there is heavy rain, and all of this topsoil will be washed away. So that's what we call soil erosion and degradation. The soil. So if continuously soil erosion is happening, then the quality of the land will also be degraded. Yeah. And then loss of biodiversity and habitat. Yeah. When you're clearing away forests, then the organisms, the plants, and also the animals and insects, birds, everything, they will have to find a new place, right? Sometimes they'll be able to move to another place, but some organisms, they won't be able to get a new place, then they will die. So, so it leads to permanent loss of biodiversity. Yeah. And the next question, define desertification and mention two human activities that accelerate desertification. Yes. What is meant by desertification? The process in which the various factors which lead to a region becoming a desert, right? Okay, so that process is called desertification. It is a process of persistent degradation of dry land ecosystems by human activities and variations in climate. Yeah, okay. We can't say that it is entirely because of human activities. Sometimes even the climate is not favorable. Okay, so the climate might become harsh. It might become, very hot. So the plants won't be able to survive. So there are many different reasons. So due to these reasons, a region will slowly become a desert. So that is what we call desertification. Then what are the human activities that contribute to desertification? The first one is overgrazing. Yeah. Okay. So if the people living that region, if they rear a number of, a lot of cattle, then if all of the cattle is led to graze in the neighboring lands, then overgrazing might result in desertification, because even when a tiny shoot comes up, even when a small plant grows, these animals will eat away the plant, right? Okay, so if this happens continuously every day, if these animals continuously, if they continue to, if they eat away all of these tiny plants, then none of the plants will be able to survive in that region, right? There won't be any plants growing because these animals will eat away all of the baby plants, right? So there won't be any plants. So ultimately, it will lead to the region becoming barren without any trees. Yeah. So if they graze for too long, it causes destruction of vegetation cover, leading to soil compaction and erosion. Yeah. So that is one thing. And then the next one is deforestation and unsustainable agricultural practices. Yeah, we've already discussed what is meant by deforestation, right? Okay. So if the plants are, removed, if the forest areas are removed, then if there is a heavy rain or something, then it will lead to soil erosion. Then subsequently, the land will become, it will become degraded. And also, these unsustainable agricultural practices. We've already discussed this. So, usage of pesticides and fertilizers, all of these things might lead to a region slowly become a desert. So it does not happen uh, immediately. It will take a number of years, but sometimes one thing will lead to another thing. Okay, so in step-by-step process, a region might become a desert. Then what is a biosphere reserve? What are its various zones? And explain diagrammatically. Yeah. What is a biosphere reserve? It is a protected area meant for conservation of biodiversity. So it is slightly different from hotspot. Okay, so here this region will all